Welcome in, everybody, to another episode of the Beacon Breakdown. It's episode 14 and our first one in a little while. As always, I'm Mike Terrific, our grad assistant here, and today I'm joined by,
Hi, I'm Christian, also Jang.
and he is our Overwatch assistant coach, and he's been doing a lot for the team. So happy to have him here to kind of break down what the semester looks like going ahead. If you were followed us last semester, it was a very successful semester. Came out with two championships, our League of Legends team and one of our Overwatch teams coming in first. And I mean, just talk a little bit about the performance you saw last semester from the Overwatch team.
The Overwatch Shield team had beautiful teamwork that I saw from that first semester. We got some new faces. We got two additional freshmen to the Shield team. They absolutely complemented the team composition and the way they play together. So it's really awesome to see. What was really beautiful was at the beginning of the year we had like I said, the freshmen, and you could tell that they weren't as they had room to grow, and then you saw that growth over the semester. And so the first team they played against, they ended up losing. Only game they ended up losing, and they played against them in the championship and absolutely swept the field with them. So it's a beautiful growth to see that semester.
Yeah, and I think that was really a theme for all of our Valpo teams, kind of, growing throughout the semester, learning from our experiences and getting ready for new experiences. So, as we're looking ahead to this next semester, Overwatch is going to get a new opportunity to compete in the GLEC. This was our league on Saturdays with teams, around the region, around the Midwest that Smash and League of Legends competed in the fall. But for the spring, we're switching it out, and now Smash is staying, and Overwatch and Rocket League are joining the GLEC. So an extra day of competition, for your teams, and an opportunity to go on a trip at the end of the semester. What do you think about that?
Yeah, they're excited and they're ready. So they're looking forward to seeing how that works out, how that pans out. Put some preemptive measures in place, so we don't want to overload these players. We make sure that education's first. We make sure that they're focusing on their academics. So we took one day off of practice. We took Friday off so that we could focus on academics as well as have that Saturday available to compete in the GLEC.
Yep. So I'm really looking forward to that. We had a really great trip, with the league team. A lot of these guys, their first time, competing on land. It's a very cool environment to have all these other, college kids that love playing the game and love competing just around you. So I'm very excited to take a larger group. Those Overwatch guys are always fun, aren't they?
Oh yes.
So those games will be on Saturday, and hopefully we're gonna be able to stream some Saturday Overwatch in addition to Smash Bros. And maybe some Rocket League games too. So a lot more active here on Valpo Esports Twitch on Saturday is what we're looking forward.
Oh, exciting.
And another part of the GLEC is some new opponents. I know we've been talking about some of those teams might be tougher. Have you looked at the group of teams you're going to be facing at all, or?
I looked at them a little today. For me personally, I don't know enough about the other teams to really compare them, but I'm really excited. There's definitely some new faces that we haven't played against, and so just looking forward to see how they do, seeing where we leave our mark, and just seeing how that pans out.
Yep. It's always fun to kind of form those rivalries too. I know Bethel was a team we played a lot, across all of our different games, and I think there's someone that you guys will be facing, and it'll be a very good matchup. So it's one I'm already penning in my calendar. I believe February 15th, if I remember correctly. You guys are taking them on, so that kind of covers our GLEC rundown, but we still didn't talk about the NECC. We're focusing a lot on Overwatch, but I kind of want to take some time to touch on all of our different teams. That's the league that all of our games compete in, right? So we have League of Legends, who kind of, I mean, they went undefeated in Emergence last semester. So right now we're going through the process which NECC calls activation. Basically, this preseason where they're deciding like where the team's gonna go, right? What their skill is. So League of Legends is one of those that I'm thinking, maybe they might move up out of Emergence. These are always things that we look for and we strive for. And we talked about our other team that had great success, Overwatch Shield, kind of dominating challengers. Do you think they might move up a division here?
It really depends. Some colleges have been added to the NECC as well, so we might see a little shift there as well. It really depends on how we perform going into the semester again, seeing if our sea legs over winter break are still stable or if they're ready to get back on the boat. Um, Also, we got to look at how we perform, how the division above, how much more competitive they are compared to the one we're in currently. Um, and it just might be we decide to stay for those reasons related to that.
Well, either way, wherever you get placed, I'm really looking forward to see how they come together. I know Ben was a big addition, and the whole team kind of came together with a lot of chemistry there. As for our other teams, Rocket League had their share of struggles and successes with Brown team in the Challengers division. I know there was a lot of really tough opponents in there. They were like, these guys are way above our ranks. Can we really handle it? Definitely some tough losses, but I think they learned a lot from that. I'm sure you know that you learn more from a loss than a win, right?
Absolutely, you definitely you learn things you didn't know when you lose a game. At least when you play your best and you lose, then you learn like what you didn't know, and that's really helpful and beneficial in esports.
And our other Rocket League team, Rocket League Gold, was in the Emergence division, and regular season, kind of iffy, but they made it to the playoffs, and they actually did pretty well. They came into a really tough opponent. They faced off against the one seed, and man, they took them down to that very last game. So they're a team that I'm looking out for. I think they can have a really solid semester here, kind of building on the end of the fall season for them. So we talked about Overwatch a little bit. We talked about League of Legends. Talked about Rocket League, right?
Hmm.
So our last team is going to be Smash Bros, which are a little bit different, because they're not on the computers, right? They got their controllers out, and it's more of an individual sport. But they're gonna have crews on Tuesday night, and they kind of fell off towards the end of the semester, right? Because they were doing the GLEC thing Saturdays and Tuesdays. It was a lot on those players. They were getting burned out, and I think it was a lot. Like you talked about, that's something you're already looking ahead trying to
Hmm.
prevent with Overwatch. So one thing they're going to do this semester is they're going to kind of split it up and look to have people that are like just NECC players and just GLEC players, right? So hopefully that can kind of, let them focus on just their one league. And we also have an addition too. Alex, who is
Oh,
studying abroad in the fall semester, is going to be coming back this semester. And, he was doing a lot last year, really breaking into that kind of main team, top tier. So I'm very excited to see what he can add to the team and how Smash Bros is going to do NECC. So that kind of covered all of our like really competitive main teams, right?
yeah,
But this semester, we have an exciting addition, don't we?
we do.
So Overwatch is going to be starting Valpo Esports' first club team, kind of a little more casual approach to esports, and you're a little bit of the mastermind behind that. So take me through the process of what went into that.
Yeah, so I'm the head coach of the Overwatch club team. We just created it this semester. Super excited, and the main mindset is here at Valpo. We really care about community building, and that holds very true to the esports program here. We want to have a great community. We want to have a great environment, and show that we're like friendly faces. And I think we've done a great job showing that. And so the club team is another approach of showing that sense of community, having that really great involvement in the campus. And so we have new players that want to get into competitive esports maybe, or want to try these out, or just notice the community and like I want to be a part of that community. So this is a great outreach for them to join in. Overwatch specifically is a free to play game now, so it's like very little investment that the players have to put in. Just time is usually what we say. And so they come in and they'll compete on Thursdays with the NECC. Probably in the traditional lowest ranking, but that's totally fine. And that'll just help with some team exercise, team building, some understanding of how competitive works, getting a feel for that, but in also a very relaxed way. We don't wish this, but if we lose every single game, we lose every single game. We're not devastated. So we're going to try for our best. We're going to do our best. We're going to focus on that kind of community and just that club orientation, less competitive than the others.
Yeah, I think it's a really great addition, just kind of like for visibility and getting people that might not, be familiar with esports involved. I know you said you had one of your friends, come down here and you were showing him the lab and he was like, "Wow, I didn't even know this was here." So I think it's a very cool thing that's, hidden in the basement, right? Kind of an underground gem.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a little lost to some of the students, and it's very exciting to see students when they see it for the first time ever. They're like, I didn't know Valpo had this, and then I didn't know it was so easy to accessible and all this stuff. So it's really exciting to see people get involved in this way, and to see it grow too.
Yeah, I think it's a very exciting opportunity, and you know, hopefully, in the future, maybe we can get some of our other games to have a similar team, and I think it's really good to kind of build that. Hey, this is what esports is, because too often, people don't really know about us and what we're doing down, and comes with a good problem, right? We're running into all kinds of space issues now. We're like, oh man, we're gonna have like 15 people playing Overwatch at once on Thursdays. Like this is a lot, and this is kind
Hmm.
of a big step for the program, I think.
For
Um,
sure.
so club team, assistant coach, you've been very involved with Overwatch. So I kind of want to talk a little bit about you and what your background is. So how did you get started with esports with Overwatch?
Well, how I got started with esports and how I got started with Overwatch are slightly different.
Okay, well,
So I
we'll take both.
I started esports competitive gaming in high school, and it was over a silly mobile game, and it was just something that I played with my cousin a lot. And then I got reached out from a competitive team that just didn't know who I was. They saw my account, saw my numbers, and like, "You're really good." And I said, "Thank you." And I played with them, and I got really invested in kind of esports and what it is. And from there, I kind of learned more about it, and I wanted to grow in it. And I tried a couple things, couple options in high school, but I realized like, maybe now's not the best time. And I waited until sophomore year of college, where I was like, okay, okay, Valpo has an esports program. Oh, it's kind of small. Oh, I'll consider it. We'll see what happens. And then one of my friends who was on the League of Legends team was transitioning to the Overwatch team. And it's like, hey, we're looking for players. I know you don't play Overwatch. I know you have no idea what that game is, but like we're looking for players. It's going to be a good time. You want to join? And I was like, sure. And so over the summer, I reached level 25, which is how you're able to play rank in that game. And I just started playing on the team, and it was an incredible experience, and it just built up from there.
And then, you talk about coming in kind of on the ground floor, right? Your friend told you, hey, we're transitioning, Overwatch is going to be new for Valpo Esports. Talk to me a little bit, kind of like what that process was of, starting to build that team and build that community initially.
Yeah, so when I joined, we created the second Overwatch team. And so that was new, where we had a lot of faces where you had the super serious competitive people on one team, and then you had the new people trying to figure things out, doesn't know everything, doesn't know all the positioning. And that was the team we started with. And when I came in, I didn't know a single person except for my friend. And so just kind of acclimating, learning these people. It was really unique, but it was never I was never nervous. I was never worried about walking in. I knew it was a welcoming space. I knew it was a good time. It was just something I had to learn over time. And so, and I wouldn't even say it was slow either. It was quite fast. It was quite a speedy process of turning these teammates into friends, into people I spend a lot of time with outside of practice.
And then, talk to me a little bit about, I guess, the difference you see, between your initial experience starting with a mobile game to, how structured, I guess, this feels here at Valpo Esports.
Yeah, for the mobile game, I would get a message in the game. It'd be like, "Hey, we're having this competition on a Wednesday at 8 p.m." and they'd send that at like 7:30, like a half hour before. And I was like, "Oh, okay." Where here, you get the whole schedule really figured out. You have those team practices that are very, very weekly, multiple times. We do team bonding exercises. We do whole community wide. We did a bonfire last semester, so we really get opportunities to kind of grow as a community and as players, and just get familiar with your surrounding. That's something that I would say was not there for the mobile game. That is definitely here at Valpo.
And then, just going forward, I don't know, have you played any like traditional sports? Were you on any, basketball, baseball, any of those
Yeah,
teams?
I did water polo for a couple of years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Talk to me a little bit about, I guess, how you think esports can kind of, find its niche within regular sports because we've got basketball fans, we've got football fans, but esports kind of isn't really a sport, right? So how do we go forward and kind of how do you see it fitting in and gaining popularity, I guess?
Yeah, so the biggest way as it relates to water polo was, it's the teamwork, it's the team exercises there. It's doing things in tangent of helping each other out to achieve a goal. And for water polo, people don't see, they see above the water, they don't see below the water. And so they kind of learn what's under there. They kind of understand the kind of power that's under the water with the legs kicking and the swimming. Um, Whereas in video games, you see it, but you don't always fully understand it, and you don't see the inner workings, the keyboard, the communication. We don't when we watch a game, you don't hear the comms that are going for the esports team, versus when they're actually playing. And so, kind of appreciating kind of what is behind it will help it fit into the sports niche in general, I would say, because we're all aware that when you're in football, when you're in water polo, soccer, you know there's communication, you know that's happening. You don't really hear it, but you just kind of know what they're thinking, what they're saying. Just kind of relating that to esports, I feel like as a viewer will help you understand and appreciate esports a little bit more.
Yeah, and I mean to build on that, one of our biggest esports in the space today is League of Legends. And I've been watching a lot more of their competitive games, and one of the things they do really well is on broadcast, the players pick pictures of their cameras right in the bottom corner. So when you're watching the game, you can also see, the player, their reactions, those kinds of things. And then they also do listen-ins, right? Where after a big fight, they'll play it back and you can hear what the team was saying. So I think all of those are kind of really good elements to identify the human side of esports and show people that hey, it's more than just the game on the screen, right? So that's definitely a struggle that I think esports over. And the other side of it too is, for the actual players, I feel like esports is so much more of a mental game than traditional sports because it lacks that same, physical element. You're not dripping sweat. Well, maybe sometimes, right? But so it's more about, strategy and overcoming your opponent, right? Like, talk to me a little bit about the mental side of competing in esports versus water polo.
Yeah, so the biggest thing I think about in water polo, you got really two planes. You have like or like the front behind. You don't really have up and down. It's just the pool. You're just in the pool in terms of location where people are and so on. In esports and Overwatch specifically, you have buildings, you have rooms, you have towers, super vertical places, and you got to use your ears and concentrate on where you hear the opponents, where you think they're going, where you think they're heading. And so in water polo, you just have a pool. You go back and forth in esports in Overwatch where we play, it's way more. I'm blanking on. I want to say atmospheric, but that's not right.
Uh,
Obstacles or
I don't know, obstacles, levels,
levels. Yeah,
yeah,
there's just so much different to look at to see. And
depth, I guess, right?
yeah, yeah. And
Yeah.
in water polo, everything's visible as a player, or very close to visible. Where in esports, you don't see everything, and you hardly ever see everything you need to see too. So there's a lot of guessing where things are, guessing where they will be in terms of exact locations. Because in water polo, you could just look across the field, see the person. Okay, that's where they are. That's where I need to be. In Overwatch, you got to really think about. I think they're going to be over there because that would make the most sense. So I got to correspond. So you got to think of what would the enemy do so you could do that, and then it's a little bit in the same sports, but less visual aid in esports.
Yeah. And I mean, another point off that brings up one of my favorite parts of esports, which is communication, right? There's 5 players in the game and everyone's seeing something different. So it's kind of all about, learning what each person's perspective is and, bringing it together to make the whole puzzle, right? A lot of communication heavy. I think that's something we really focus on here at Valpo, right?
Oh, absolutely. And then we really make sure that we tell the players uh, communication is crucial. And in a game like Overwatch, a single second is worth so much time. And so when we say these call outs, we want to be very direct and very quick with it. And so we want to provide as much information as possible with as little time as possible. So there's a character in the game named Winston. If I say Winston is behind the drum on this part of the map, that takes a couple seconds to say out. But if I say Winston back drum, like boom, they know exactly where he is, and it's a much shorter call out, and it works.
Yeah, and it's also, finding out what works for your team. I know a lot of different teams have like weird call outs. Somebody will say, "Oh, banana," and everyone will just know where banana is. But you look at the map and I'm like, "Wait, there's no banana on this map, right?" Like, so I think it's very interesting to see how those things develop within the team. So you kind of moved away from being a player to being, more of this assistant coach kind of manager role. uh, how's that like shifted your view and that transition been like?
Well, I learned to appreciate esports more because as a player, it was fun and I enjoyed it. And I got to see, I walk into the lab like, okay, what are we doing today? What exercise are we doing today? And that was exciting. That was fun. And then going into the more manager, assistant coach kind of thing, it's me helping create the plan. And so if there was something that like, like that was great, but I wish I saw this when we did practices, I can help create that thing. And so just a fun example we did was I helped create a bingo sheet where they had prizes if they got bingo for certain things that were happening in the game. So it was really exciting, and the players loved it. Doing group exercises as well, just super fun ways to get involved and just help leading that, help showing the esports players. It's just super exciting and super fun that I love to do.
And this semester, with the addition of the club team, you're gonna have a chance to play a little bit. How excited are you to, get back in competition a little?
I am really excited. It is very clear that I haven't played in a while. And so I'd say when I was practicing with the club team, we did win every game. I'm just going to point that out there.
Uh-oh, look out.
Uh, but I was definitely the worst skill-based player on the team, and I'll happily take that. The team's just looking pretty great. I got a little bit of warming up to do, but I can help with the comms. I can help keep it running smoothly. So just got to kick it back into gear, I'd say.
Well, we're looking forward to see you guys in action. You're gonna go through the preseason and kind of compete on Thursdays, just like the real teams, but a little more for fun, right? So we're looking forward to seeing all those games and seeing how you guys do. Um, One other exciting opportunity the program had that I kind of want to touch on here is the opportunity to work a little bit with Cloud9. I know, big name in esports, very exciting opportunity.
Yeah.
Actually, right now, we have some of their staff that's working with our League of Legends team, and later this week they're gonna work a little bit with our Smash Bros team. So very exciting that they were able to take the time and we had this opportunity to work with them and kind of get some high level coaching for our players.
Yeah, that's really exciting. And then one thing about like the Valpo program specifically for the coaches and like kind of the manager kind of stuff, we care more about like the passion and like the community. So like I'm a coach, I'm a manager, I'm not like a top 500 Overwatch player. And so it's really nice that some of these players really get those really competitive players or coaches that get to help them in that aspect. So that's really exciting to see.
Yeah, close to top 500 though,
Oh
right?
yeah,
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 super
yeah,
close.
almost there. Oh, but yes, very excited about that, and if these boot camps go well, excited for maybe potential future opportunities with Cloud9. So I'm very glad to see Valpo Esports starting to get recognition and kind of build these opportunities within.
Absolutely.
So one last note, next time we're going to be live here on Twitch. Not going to be till Saturday. You're going to miss us. We're not streaming our preseason games. We're giving players an opportunity to kind of have those off stream, hide the strats a little bit. Um, so we'll be going live on Saturday, early in the morning, 9 a.m. Grab your coffee. Smash Bros is taking on St. Francis in their
Ooh,
first GLEC matchup. So if I remember
exciting.
from the past, pretty good team. I think it'll give us a good test of where we're at. So
Oh, absolutely.
yes, and then we might be streaming some other games. I know Rocket League and Overwatch are kind of working out their schedule, so if they have a matchup on Saturday, we might try to get them in. So be sure to watch our social media. Follow our Twitter. It's down below in the description here. And then of course follow Twitch. If you're watching right now, this button right there. Follow it. Christian, any last shout outs here before we go off? Anything you want to shout out? Let the people know.
No shout outs, just none that I could think of. Just thank you for watching, I guess. Yeah.
Well, thank you guys very much for watching. We'll be live Saturday at 9 a.m. and we'll also be live next week. I'll be here with a different guest. Sorry, Christian, but
All
you know.
good.
So yes, be sure to tune in, follow the socials, and as always, thank you very much for watching.